Council, providing guidance to program priorities in reproductive health, poverty, gender, and youth, chair of the International Center for Research on Women, member of the Maternal Health Task Force, member of the Gender Rights and Empowerment Working Group. Request him to start the proceedings by sharing his thoughts. Over to you, John.
Thank you very much, Indra. I want to welcome participants from around the world, especially Rotaractors and other advocates for youth, to the introductory webinar of a new series entitled Big Pink Youth Dialogues, co-sponsored by RMCH, the Action Group, with the Partnership for Maternal, Children's, and Adolescent Health, PMNCH, of WHO, and the Apollo Shine Foundation. Again, my name is John Townsend. I'm the board chair for the Rotary Action Group for Reproductive, Maternal, and Child Health, a global network of Rotarians, Rotaractors, and country collaborators committed to improving maternal and child health and youth well-being through partnership. Today marks the 10th anniversary of the International Day of the Girl Child, which Indra pointed out, was grew out of both the UN Declaration of Women's Rights and the global commitment to sustainable development goals linked to reproductive health, gender equality, and community development within a framework of human rights and global goals. These include not only efforts to eliminate harmful practices affecting youth, such as gender-based violence and child marriage, but also investments in youth by ensuring access to quality health services, equitable access to education, pathways to employment, mental health, and respectful engagement of youth in all decisions that affect their lives and well-being. We have a stellar set of speakers from around the world to engage you, and you have our commitment to pursue long-term partnerships on these goals at the community as well as globally with country governments, civil society, the UN, and Rotary leadership. Thank you for your presence and engagement today. Now I'd like to pass the baton to Rekha Shetty from our RMCH board to review today's program. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, John, for the inspirational words, and we will work together for the same cause. There's a lot of synergy here. Like the Women's Day, the Day of the Girls acknowledges the importance, power, and potential of adolescent girls by encouraging and opening up of more opportunities. I'm thrilled to invite the dynamic, enthusiastic, and inspiring Dr. Rekha Shetty, Director RMCH, who has helped Apollo Shine put this program together. She's among the first women Rotary International Governors in Asia. She's an innovation corporate guru, an entrepreneur, best-selling author, and an original thinker with her own management brand, MindSpark, and a passionate belief that I cannot do all the good the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. Over to you, Rekha Shetty.
Thank you, Indra.
Yeah.
All of us are waiting to say yes to life, even at my age. We want to say yes because that is the way to live life, to enjoy every moment that comes your way. But you should accept that sometimes yes may mean a disaster to you. There are questions which only you can answer and only you can say no to. Let us look at the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve could enjoy everything that was there in the Garden of Eden. But when the serpent persuaded Eve, she ate of the tree of knowledge, and so did Adam. And so that he could be with her, answering no to certain questions can save your life. Now, do you want to be cool, accepted by everybody, by the most powerful people? This may end up in your saying yes to something you should not say yes to. Saying no to drugs and smoking could save you from a lot of trouble. Do you want to be loved and admired? Saying no could save you from a lot of heartbreak. They say the best oral contraceptive is the word no. On this day of the girl, this day of the girl child and the woman, say yes to innovation, yes to new experience, to self-esteem. Say no to losing your dignity. to violence, to bad touch, to intoxicants, to anything that can compromise your self-esteem. Say yes to perfect health. And that's why we have here a galaxy of speakers, doctors, and well-wishers to tell you how to build a future which says yes to life. Real happiness is helping others. And Mother Teresa proved that just by helping others, we can improve our well-being and our feelings about ourselves. There's a beautiful experiment carried out in the Harvard School of Psychology where a group of students were asked to, could you highlight me? Is it possible? Indira, could you just highlight?
Host, is it possible to highlight Rekha Shetty?
Whoever is speaking, I think whoever's speaking should be highlighted.
Yeah.
Thank you. So the story goes, it's a real life story, of course, where a group of students were asked to give blood to study their immune response. And their immune response was studied. And then they were shown a wonderful film of Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa looking after the people on the streets of Calcutta, picking them up, taking care of them. And then after 20 minutes, they were again asked to give blood to study the immune response. Ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, in those 20 minutes after watching Mother Teresa being kind, the immune response of most of the participants was enhanced by 40%. Kindness can help you improve your well-being. I want you to not only love yourself, but love all the others who come into your life, all the people who work with you, so that you can arrive at a conclusion that the world is a place where you can do something to change things. And this is where the Rotary World helps. 1.2 million Rotarians in 170 countries, in 540 districts all over the world, join together to change the world. And you too, as a girl child, can change the world in your own small way. Reach out to those who have less than you. Reach out to those who need your help, whether it is through your time, your talent, your treasure, in whatever way you can. There are 2,03,000 Rotarians, Rotractors, 486,556 interactors working worldwide in their own communities in their own way. You too, as students, can do change the world in the way that the world is seeking for you to do. Dorothy Parker of the Slashing Wit said of an acquaintance, she speaks 18 languages and she can't say no even in one of them. Learn to say no when it is required. Learn to say no, the protective no. Learn to understand what you would really want in life, what is long-term, what is lifetime, and what is something you want to keep and treasure. And the best way to escape from a problem is to solve it, says Alan Saporta. Every single day you can do something to help the world. It was Martin Luther King who said, even if I knew that tomorrow the world would go to pieces, I will plant my apple tree. Martin Luther King, he said, I will plant an apple tree even if I know the world is going to pieces. You do that. Go out and plant that tree. Look after that tree. Nurture that person. The little girl who comes along with your maid to clean your house. Reach out, help. The Rotary Action Group for Reproductive, Maternal and Child Health is an international non-profit organization with 25 years of experience. And the central theme is to empower women and children and create happy families. I want to wind up by saying life is for living. Do you know that the fourth largest cause of suicide among young people is for reasons you cannot even imagine. For bad marks, perhaps, as they say here, love failure, things which are a mere molehill, something which you will overcome as you proceed on the journey of your life. I want you to treasure your life, enjoy, and reach out to be the person God created you to be. Happy Day of the Girl Child. Value yourself, enjoy yourself, love learning, and have a wonderful life. Thank you, Indra.
Thank you, Rekha, for such a beautiful message. Learn to say no, value oneself, and each of us can bring about a change in the lives of others. The world's largest alliance committed to protecting and advocating for the health, well-being, and rights of women, children, and adolescents is the PMNCH, the Partnership for Maternal, Newborn, and Child Health, with over 1,300 partner organizations. PMNCH is hosted by the World Health Organization based in Geneva, with a goal, the world in which all women, newborns, children, and adolescents are not only healthy, but thrive. There's a video shared by the PMNCH, if we could play it. That was beautiful. As you can see, we are all one. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. And my partner, Mr. Kishore Manohar, director of the Apollo Shine Foundation, exemplifies this. Due to unforeseen circumstances, Mr. Kishore will not be able to join us today, but he conveys his best wishes. We've had an overwhelming response from so many students as well, who have shared their messages to the girls across the globe. On behalf of Kishore, we will hear a message from a Shine student.
Hi everyone, I'm Tara Kannan. I've just finished my 12th grade at Arsha Vidya Mandir, a school in Chennai where I live, and I'm currently about to enter college. On the occasion of the International Day of the Girl Child, I would like to wish everyone a very happy day to celebrate all girl children. Girls are made to think that they have limitations and are taught to restrict themselves. In my case, except for following some general safety measures, I'm proud to say that both my family and my school have always empowered me. My school, Arsha Vidya Mandir, honored equality between girls and boys. My father empowered me by enabling me to learn the martial art Taekwondo from the age of 7. It has taught me so much more than self-defense, and it's really helped me grow as an individual. And I'm currently a second level black belt. My mother empowered me by setting me the example of being a strong individual who faced adversities and came out much stronger. Both my grandmothers love and cherish me and are mentally strong women themselves. All my friends are independent thinking and strong girls. I'm truly grateful that all the girls and women in my life continue to inspire me every day. My message for all girl children out there would be, firstly, to ensure that you learn self-defense, to stand up for yourself, and to know that when you're sad, it's okay to cry and feel it out, but sleep over it and you will emerge strong and more cheerful than ever. Take up a sport. Very importantly, prioritize yourself and never allow anyone to disrespect you. Keep reading and learning, meeting new people and making new friends, and that's the way you will learn about the world and also about yourself. And that is how you can empower yourself. I would like to thank the Apollo Shine Foundation and Rotary International for this recognition.
More power to girls. Dr. Lisa Erickson from Seattle is a gynecologist from Minnesota with training at Mayo Clinic on reproductive medicine. She has shared a video today with the message Magic of Giving Life.
Hello, Big Pink. Hello, girls and young women of the world. I'm Dr. Lisa, a women's health physician and advocate. Aren't we the lucky ones? We get to bring new life into the world. The next generation passes through us. We are responsible for the legacy of our families. Planning for a desired, healthy pregnancy for mother and baby is the goal. Your age is just one factor that should go into your decision to get pregnant. You also need to consider your emotional and financial readiness to start a family. That timing is unique for each woman. The purpose of this talk is to review some of the issues on pregnancy too soon or teen pregnancy. Experts say the best time to get pregnant is between your late 20s and early 30s. This age range is associated with the best outcomes for both you and your baby. Teen pregnancy is prevalent and associated with increased risks of both mother and baby complications during and after pregnancy. It is a problem that affects nearly every society, developed and developing alike. Being aware of adverse outcomes is important to improving care. Although prevention of unwanted teenage pregnancy is the primary goal, many teens continue to become pregnant. Young maternal age is associated with an increased risk of anemia, infections, high blood pressure, cesarean delivery, postpartum depression, and inadequate breastfeeding. Young maternal age is associated with low birth weight and preterm delivery. These risks are even greater for teens who are younger than age 15, or for those who delay or do not get any prenatal care. Some reasons for lack of care are teen denial of the pregnancy and fear of telling parents. Teens assume that unwanted pregnancy is something that happens to others, but not to them. A sexually active teenager who does not use contraception has a 90% chance of pregnancy within 1 year. In the United States, 85% of teen pregnancies are unplanned. Teens should be able to look ahead and think through multiple outcomes to a given course of action, and this should enable them to make wise choices. Please find the courage to ask for help from trusted adults. A trusting relationship with open communication between children and parents makes it easier for a child to share worries about pressures for early sex or unwelcome behavior by others. Here are 4 reasons to see a gynecologist before you turn 21 or before pregnancy. Number 1, you can ask about your periods. Learn if your periods are normal. Get relief if your periods are painful or heavy. Discuss the timing of your periods and why bleeding may be irregular. Number 2, you can ask about sexuality and relationships. Learn how to have healthy relationships. Learn what it means to be in a consensual relationship. Ask questions about what it means to be lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or queer. Talk about how your reproductive system works. Number 3, ask about getting ready for pregnancy. Discuss birth control options. Discuss the ideal time to start a family. Get tested for pregnancy if you have abnormal bleeding or have had unprotected intercourse. Weigh your options if you are pregnant. Please get early prenatal care and consider pre-pregnancy testing for autosomal recessive conditions depending on your heritage, such as thalassemias, sickle cell disease, or cystic fibrosis. Find out if you're immune to rubella with a blood test. Start vitamins to prevent neural tube defects. Number 4, ask about sexually transmitted infections. Learn how to lower your risk of sexually transmitted infections or STIs, including HIV. Get tested for STI or HIV if you are sexually active. Get the human papillomavirus vaccine. You may have an STI and not know it. Using a condom can help prevent getting or spreading STIs. The work to prevent and decrease teen pregnancy needs to be multifaceted. This work is the responsibility of families, of schools, and of community health agencies. You have available the information, the choices, and the support to make good, healthy decisions for yourself. Remember, please find the courage to ask for help from trusted adults. Thank you for inviting me to speak with you today. I look forward to finding out what you can do with your capable life. Thank you.
Sorry, we have a message from another student. Can we play the video? Okay, I shall move. Are we?
All the little girls who are watching this, never ever doubt your value and power. You, yes, I meant this. You really deserve every chance and opportunity in the world to pursue and achieve your own dreams. A girl is a gift in real life. She can make a heart melt and can also rule the world.
Because I'm a girl, I must study. Long denied this right, I must study for my dreams to take flight. I must study. Knowledge brings new light, so I must study. For the battles I fight, I must study. Because I'm a girl, I must study. To avoid destitutions, I must study. To find inspiration, I must study. To win independence, I must study. To fight frustration, I must study. Because I'm a girl, I must study.
To fight men's violence, I must study. To end my silence, I must study. To challenge the patriarchy and to demolish all the hierarchy, I must study because I'm a girl, I must study. To mold a faith I can trust and to make laws that are just. And to sweep centuries of dust, I must study to challenge what I must. I'm a girl, so I must study.
Parents take loans to educate their sons, but to wed their daughters. In our society, the greatest title a woman can get is being obedient, because all she has to do is to obey. A woman, in order to do what she wants to do and live the life she wants, does she ever need the permission of someone? I don't think so. I hope you all will agree with me. It's her freedom and her right to do what she wants to do. Let's transform minds and pave way towards gender equality. I'm a girl and this is my identity.
We can measure the progress of a community by measuring the degree of progress of which a woman has achieved. A country that empowers women empowers every single individual in the society. Each woman is bold and beautiful in her own way, and also she has the boldness which is the fire from within. Start this by protecting the girl child. Ensure that her birth is celebrated with full joy and happiness. Make sure that she receives all the love and care that is needed for her to grow with full potential.
Such powerful messages from the students and from Dr. Lisa. I can see John smiling. With adversity comes resourcefulness, creativity, tenacity, and resilience. Girls are leaders. Girls are change makers. A warm welcome to Dr. Solfrid Raknes, clinical psychologist, researcher, and innovator, the driving force behind prize-winning cognitive behavioral-based material, which is widely implemented, reaching more than 9 million children. After 4 years, mainly in Lebanon with Syrian refugees, and then Washington, D.C., she's based in Tanzania. She's the winner of the top innovator in the World Economic Forum 2022 Youth Mental Health Challenge for the Helping Hand app, the video which will be played shortly. We invite Dr. Solfrid to share her thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I would just like to tell you how we improved the resilience and prevented mental health disorders through collaborating with young girls in Lebanon. So girls were invited to groups of 10 girls in each group, and the group was led by a teacher or by a psychosocial staff. They met at school or in the refugee camp where the girls were living. And in the group, they used this health application, the Helping Hand, which is a digital game, as you just saw in the film. It's based on the CBT principles, science. In the sessions, in the group sessions, after they had played this one of the scenarios in the game, they talked about that theme that was raised in that scenario and collaborated on related activities. So session by session, they worked on how to cope with fear of giving a presentation or receiving harsh critique from somebody, or relationship difficulties, dealing with loss, bad memories, and how to help friends with suicidal thoughts, how to support not only friends, but also yourself ourselves when life is hard. So 10 scenarios in the game means 10 themes, means 10 sessions implemented during a 10-week period. And that also meant 10 repetitions of the Helping Hand problem-solving system, CBT principles. And the girls experienced the power of talking about how to cope with emotional challenges. And their problem skills increased. Now they know how to identify their own feelings and other people's feelings. They know how to identify unhelpful red thoughts. And they know how to help themselves and friends to create more healthy thinking patterns. They are good at finding green thoughts. Their mental health literacy is increased and their resilience is growing every day from new challenges they face and solve. 78% of the adolescents who had anxiety or depression at the beginning of the program did not any longer struggle with that at the end of the program. Ala, for example, who used to be very shy and scared to talk in front of other students in her classroom, just avoided doing that, she started to love to tell her opinion. All of the girls actually during this program, they flourished and they loved to come to the group sessions. 10% of them got and participated in extra peer support training. They started to actively spread what they had learned to their families and friends and spreading this application. And now they are mental health advocates in their own communities, and with Syrian refugees, that means also the international communities everywhere, because they are spread. So what I've told you now is that by targeting young girls, by using health technology and by facilitating collaboration between girls and peer support, resilience can be built. When implementation like this is possible in thousands of Syrian refugee girls growing up in poverty in Lebanon, it can be done most places in the world. Not all mental health disorders can be prevented, but most can be prevented through focusing on systematically strengthening emotional problem-solving skills in adolescence. So let's make that happen, sisters. Thank you.
That is so beautiful. I mean, using technology in such an innovative way to improve mental health. More power to you. Thank you. We will share, I think I can see some students from the School of Shine Foundation. This is students from the Vedanta Academy. Do they want to share their message with everyone here today? You can unmute yourself. Girls.
Good afternoon, we're from Vedanta Academy. I'm Shreya Dominic from Vedanta Academy, the Cultural Secretary of the school. I'm Akshara from grade 12. We're all students of grade 12, and in Vedanta Academy, they do not differentiate between boys and girls. We have been given equal opportunities. One, we are given opportunities like leadership. As I am Cultural Secretary, we have head girl. Apollo Shine never, or generally our school never differentiates. We have been given career opportunities like coding. Our students, this program was mainly meant for the girls from 6 to 12. All classes could take part in coding. So our school also motivates us in the direction of other fields also. We are not differentiated, just saying our uniform. We do not have different uniforms from the other boys of the school. The girls and the boys have the same uniforms. So we are differentiated here in the school.
Very nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Vedanta. And you can see so many inspiring women here, girls, for you to emulate. And one more, it's my privilege to invite the past district governor Rotary, Pearl Okoro, from Nigeria, to share her message in avoiding health pitfalls. Pearl won the Rotary Best President Award, was nominated for a Service Above Self Award, and named among top 5 women in Rotary leading the fight against polio in the world. She has received the Rotary International Regional Award for a polio-free world and has a stone raised in her honor at the Paul Harris Memorial Walkway in Chicago, USA. Over to you, Pearl.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I am so excited to be here, and it's so beautiful to see very fine women who have accomplished everything, if not all, that they set out to do in real life, and they're also serving humanity. I am so glad to be here. I feel privileged to be here. Well, on a day like this, as we talk about mental health, child health, especially as it pertains to women, you may want to ask, I'm going to be looking at immunization. And when we are talking about immunization, we are talking about vaccines. I mean, I've been involved in our polio eradication, still involved, and also the fight against COVID. And you may want to ask, why the vaccine? Vaccine is actually our easiest way to reduce any risk of catching a disease, because it works with the body's natural defenses to build your protection. When you get a vaccine, your immune system, is improved, it responds. We have vaccines to prevent quite a lot of diseases, including polio, even COVID. And when you take vaccines, you become healthier and all that. And when we're talking about vaccines, we're not talking about immunization, because most of the time it comes in form of immunization. So why do you have to immunize? When you immunize, you save lives. It protects you, it protects your family, it protects the community. And of course, when the community is protected, the whole world is protected. The vaccines help us to protect future generations. And eventually, when we take vaccines, diseases are eradicated. Many infectious diseases are now being eradicated just because of immunization. Indeed, this COVID that we are still in, I wonder what the world would have been today if not for immunization. The vaccines, the first dose, the second dose, and all that. But of course, when it comes to vaccines, it usually comes with a lot of resistance, because sometimes people are resistant, especially when it's something new. And of course, that human beings do not react well to change. But the good thing about it is vaccine works. Even when we started with the polio thing, there were a lot of resistances, like here in Nigeria. Resistance to polio vaccines and immunization was part of why it took us so long to actually eradicate polio from Nigeria. India did it, not minding their population and their vast in diversity and all that, because they took on to vaccines. But over here in Nigeria, we had a lot of resistance. People started carrying rumor that it is like contraceptive, that the white people had brought on immunization and vaccine to reduce the population of the blacks. And it took us a great lot of effort and money to fight that bias, to go out there using individuals and celebrity agents to tell the world, hey, this does not cause any sterility and all that. Indeed, we got the celebrities to start immunizing their own children. We got our president to immunize his own child. Indeed, we had to get Ambassador Andrew Young from America to come to Nigeria to immunize, to also tell them, yes, he's an American and he believes in it. But unfortunately, polio has found its way back to America, because at some point, they slowed down on immunization. They felt we've gotten out of it, so there is no more need for immunization. But that brings my point back to it, that immunization should be a continuous thing. For instance, for the children against polio, it is between the ages of birth and for 5 years, and it doesn't hurt. You cannot be over-immunized. You can't. When it comes to immunization and vaccine, they actually do not have the kind of adverse effect that so often follow it. For people who react to, just like someone can react to Panadol, just like someone can react to water, someone can also react to it, but that doesn't make it harmless. So what we need to preach, especially for our girls, they need to keep immunizing children. Cervical cancer also has a vaccine now. You can actually place a vaccine for these girl children so that they reduce the risk of catching cervical cancer. Same thing applies to COVID. COVID has not left the face of the earth. COVID is still there. Indeed, last week, I took my 3rd dose because I travel a lot from all over the world. I go to very local communities and all that. And I don't want to be bogged down. I don't want my life to be cut short because of lack of immunization. So what I'm saying is that immunization is very, very important. It's the best way you can protect yourself and your children, and indeed the future generation. I recommend that as we celebrate the International Day of the Girl Child, that we should raise a lot of awareness. Indeed, today, if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see it. I've posted a lot of girls, and I put there, I said the girl child nurtured, raised, and immunized. So no matter what the plans a girl child have, the talent, the good vision, if you don't immunize the girl child, vaccinate them to give them resistance against these diseases, they may never grow up to be that beautiful child that Reka talked about, that Vedetta talked about, that even Dr. Indira is talking about. We have a lot of plans for the girl child. Get them immunized against all odds. The same way you also immunize the rest of the world. Because until the rest of the children are immunized, no child in the world is safe. So all we're talking about is immunization against flu, against chickenpox, whooping cough, measles, Zika, Ebola. Thank God for technology, the world has actually gone far and they've brought out vaccines that can cure this. So as we celebrate the International Day of the Girl Child today, let us raise our voices. Let us shout out loud. Let us reach as many communities as possible and tell them that vaccination, immunization is key. It works, it saves life, and let us protect the talents embedded in women with this vaccination so that the Mother Teresa's of the world will be vast, there will be many in the years to come. Thank you, Dr. India.
Thank you, Pearl. As a doctor, I couldn't agree more. We all have to ensure, and it is not only girls, boys as well as adults have to ensure that they get their age-appropriate vaccines. I'm delighted now to invite Dr. Sri Lakshmi, psychiatrist, who's just returned from UK and joined our Apollo hospitals. She was the recipient of the Best Newcomer Award, You Have Made a Difference Award at Cambridge University, and she was even nominated for the Psychiatrist of the Year Award in 2016 in UK. Over to you, Sri Lakshmi. She has a small PowerPoint we will share.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you to Dr. Indra and Apollo Shine for asking me to speak. It's such an exciting opportunity. And I just want to, I'm so sorry. I don't know if the PowerPoint is available at all. Would you like me to?
If you could share,
I'll share it from my end. Can I do that?
Yeah, if you could, Sri Lakshmi. Yes.
Are people able to see that?
Yes, yes, yes. You can go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I think it's I'm so happy to be able to contribute and talk to people regarding on the International Day of the Girl Child.
Request the others to mute the audio. Thank you.
Thank you. I just thought I'd start with a small quote from Rabindranath Tagore, who's one of our poets, and a small excerpt from his poem. And this was with regard to independence and freedom. It's where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world is not being broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, into that heaven of freedom, my father, let my country awake, he said. And this is what I hope will be possible for girl children across the world, where the mind can be without fear and the head is held high. Now, on the day, at the time where we are celebrating an International Day of the Girl Child, though I'm extremely happy, there is a part of me which is really sad, because we are in the 21st century and we are having to have a special day to end discrimination between girls and boys. That is very sad at this point in time. And that is something that is worthwhile just holding in mind. When we think about how can we empower girls and women, as a psychiatrist, you can imagine psychological empowerment. I would really put that on top about everything else. And girls and women's right to have and determine choices, their right to have access to various opportunities and resources, their right to have power to control their own lives, both at home and outside the home environment, the ability to influence the direction of social change. We have so many young people across the world who are doing that as we speak. And it's trying to think about how we can empower girls across the world to be able to do that, in order to work towards an order which is more just, both socially as well as economically. Next slide, please. And how can we achieve this at home? It's about making sure that our children aren't treated differently because of their gender. In educational institutions, teachers hold an amazing role in making sure that girls are empowered, girls have a voice, and they feel that they are able to establish themselves and the strength that they have. And quite often when girl children come into clinic to see me, I often say it will be amazing if they are able to see themselves through their parents' eyes, or maybe clinicians' eyes, or their teachers' eyes, in order for them to see how amazing everybody else thinks they are. Sometimes they don't realize that. So it's trying to think about how parents can enable children to see that. Societal reforms are key in making sure that change comes about, and everybody knows how difficult change is, and it's trying to think about how we can do that in a way that is quite quick and also effective. It has to be a change both in culture as well as attitude, both within ourselves as women and girls and the wider society, not accepting anything less than what is the best, is really helpful. Girls and women being thoughtful and mindful of each other. There's a lot of difficulty that we see with bullying and children being picked on in school. So it's really important to focus on how we can support each other in a nurturing way. Key element is also opportunities in leadership positions. How can we enable girls and women to be leaders? And how can we give them a voice which can be effective in bringing about change across the world? Next slide, please. I'm hoping to focus on psychological empowerment mainly today, and it's trying to think about how can we achieve this, working on a girl's sense of self-worth. What do I stand for? Who am I as a person? My identity. And it's really important for girls to understand that, and for institutions and parents and society as a whole to help engender and nourish that. helping build resilience. And this is a term that is used a lot, especially in psychiatry. We focus more on risk rather than resilience, but there is a lot of research that's now coming up on how do we understand this term resilience. Is it genetic? Is it the environment that provides it? And definitely, as we see quite often, it's a combination of both. Schools using a very nurturing approach towards children in general, but particularly girls, rather than a punitive one, that goes a long way in helping a sense of self-worth that lasts a lifetime. So educational institutions play a massive role in this. And if the education is focusing on helping leadership qualities in girls, helping build communication aspects, helping them have an ability to work on and build abstract reasoning and abstract thinking rather than learning just by rote. So it's trying to think about how we can change our way of providing education to children, particularly girls, so that we can enable them to grow. Helping children have a reflective approach to life. So quite often it becomes a blinkered approach rather than enabling that sense of reflection right from the word go. And if we develop that when we are younger, we are able to manage emotions differently, we are able to manage situations differently, and trying to think about the wider aspect as well. Emotions are extremely important, but I'm biased in this regard. Probably as a psychiatrist, I would say that. But having said that, emotions, I don't believe in emotions being negative or positive. Emotions are emotions. And it's trying to think about how we make sense of them, how we understand them, how we express them and manage them in a meaningful way for ourselves, because no two individuals are the same in how we understand and manage emotions. But this is the last point is key for me. It's making sure that girl children are not abused or neglected, and they are truly nurtured and understood. And how can we achieve the above? Next slide, please. It's trying to look at making sure that each one of us does our bit in any possibly small way that we can in empowering the girl child and supporting each other. And I feel that together we can manage and make miracles happen. And as Martin Luther King said, I have a dream that one day we'll no longer need to have an International Day for the girl child, because there will not be discrimination. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Lakshmi. We will now have another video. This is from Africa. Can we play that? So, every day is the day of the girl child.
I'm Chiamaka. I'm from Vines International School and I'm in year 8. I'm determined to achieve everything I want in future and all my goals. I want to encourage all girl children to work hard, focus on their studies, do whatever they are meant to do, and I hope by God's grace we'll be able to achieve all we want to achieve in future, and forget that men are the ones ruling now, that other women, girl childs can also be the ones ruling. I want to also take this opportunity to say Happy International Girl Child Day.
That was so sweet. We have students from National Hill, another city in India, who have logged in from Bangalore, and they want to share a message. They are very excited. National Hill School, are you there, girls? And there is Dr. Ashraf from the Apollo Shine Foundation, who is leading their team. Yes, over to you, Ashraf. Dr. Ashraf.
Good evening. We are students from National Hill Public School, Rajanabeshwari Nagar. And on behalf of International Girls' Day, we'd like to share a message, which is we should all hone our voices and scream out loud, just like the lioness explored. Gender bias is still prevailing not only in our country, but all over the world. Women are being objectified, looked down upon, told they aren't capable of doing what they put their mind to. I am here to tell that women, young girls, anyone and everyone in the world is capable of doing anything and everything. It is time not only to say we are capable, but to completely believe in it. Here's to strong women. May we know them, may we be them, may we raise them.
I feel like there are a lot of misconceptions around the term feminism and women empowerment. To me, empowerment is access to opportunity, healthcare, and freedom of expression. I'm incredibly lucky to have had a supportive environment. My mother and grandfather always ensured that I was capable of standing on my own feet. And I believe this has to be mirrored in every household, and that all of us must foster the culture.
Thank you.
Great messages, National Hill. Thank you so much, girls. A warm welcome now to another powerful woman, Bindi Rajashekharan, past district governor who served many terms as district polio chair, district peace scholar chair, and district preventable blindness chair, which earned her many awards. Her passion is mental well-being, and she has brought together more than 34 organizations, including the Malaysian Ministry of Health, UNICEF, and WHO together to form a commission to address critical issues affecting mental health. Over to you, Bindi.
Thank you so much, Dr. Indira. It's such an honor to be here on this platform and listening to such distinguished speakers. Now, we have all been girls once upon a time. And who we are today is because of the love, the support from the families, and the opportunities that we have been so fortunate to experience. And including the challenges on the way. I'm sure all our journeys, we have challenges on the way, and we have managed to overcome these challenges. And it's all about resilience and finding the support from where it means the most. Now, let's hope that every girl child receives the same. Now, just now, PDG Rekha in the opening address spoke about, touch on the reason for suicides by youth. And she also mentioned life is for living. In our district, as mentioned by Dr. Indira, we have established a National Coalition for Mental Wellbeing to address
we've lost you.
I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear.
I think we have lost her.
Yeah. I think my reception here in this remote island is not very good. But as I was saying, under this coalition that we established, in our 6 areas of focus, one area is youth and adolescents. And I'm very happy to mention that this youth and adolescents has taken off and have a life on its own because of the youth leading it. And today I've invited a youth advocate in mental health to speak about mental health in youth and what she has done. She is a director of the Mind Matters Network, and under her leadership, we have even published a book for youth, by the youth, on mental health issues. And I'm proud to say this book was financed by RI President Jennifer Jones Club under the good auspices of past Governor Aruna Kaushik. Now, over to you, Sharda. Sharda, are you there?
Thank you so much, Dr. Bindi, for the very kind introduction. It's an honor to speak in front of so many powerful women today, and to be given the opportunity to speak. It really resonated with me today when we spoke about just giving the platform to young girls to express themselves, because that hugely makes a difference in terms of education, be it advocacy, or just your career in the future. When we speak about youth mental health, oftentimes you see professionals taking the stage. and you see people at the age of maybe 40, 50, 60 with this years of extensive experience speaking to you about mental health. Well, that is very important. It created a doubt in my mind. Why were we not giving that platform to youth themselves? Because I felt youth were capable enough to articulate themselves, to speak about how they were feeling and share what they felt needed to be done. There was a gap between the services being provided and it reaching the ground level. And why the gap there was present was because of this breakdown of communication. We had these groups of professionals, psychologists, psychiatrists, trained professionals who came up with the best modules. But why was it youth mental health was not being 100% addressed? It was because youth were not involved in the process. They had someone else developing all these programs for them. And when it came to implementation, they felt like it was another homework, something they needed to be done. What needed to change there was the approach of how we went about it. We needed youth to be involved in the ground level. That's how Mind Matters came about. It's an organization by youth, with youth, guided by professional. By combining both of these, we were making the best out of it. Together, we came up with the Handbook on Youth Mental Health, which has been distributed all over Malaysia for free. In fact, we're running out of the handbooks and most schools have been reaching out to us wanting to get more of the handbook. It is very important for people to first understand what exactly mental health meant to them. With this time and age, you see youth mental health has taken the forefront of the arena. People speak about depression very openly, about the struggles very openly. But what became a bit dangerous here was that sometimes people were not too sure about what exactly they were speaking about. People would throw things like, I'm feeling suicidal, I'm feeling depressed, without actually knowing the context of that. So it was important for people to understand what exactly youth mental health meant and being able to get the support that they needed in the time that they needed. A lot of the initiatives that we do with youth itself not only empowers them, but works towards empowering the whole community. When I first started youth mental health, I remember in my advocacy journey, many times I would be called out for my age. So I'm 23 years old. I'm a medical student, a full-time student, while I run my NGO back in Malaysia. I'm currently studying in Australia. And I remember someone once told me that you have got so many years ahead of you. You know, what is the rush in that? And for the longest time, I asked myself, yes, what is the rush in it? I have got all these years. But with time, I came up with a perfect response. Train me and the rest of the girls now and give us 20 years. When we reach that age, we will be able to do much more than we can do now. With that, I would like to end my speech. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And on behalf of all the girls, as well as the youth out there, we need you. We need these mentors to guide us and to show us the way. Without you, youth mental health cannot be pushed by youth themselves. We need your support. Thank you.
That is so powerful, Sharda. Fantastic and best wishes for Mind Matters by the youth, for the youth. And Bindi, there's so much that girls and women can achieve if we all support each other. And great, Bindi, for encouraging Sharda. Glad to have you both here. Girls are breaking boundaries and barriers, given the skills and the opportunities. We wish to create a new era for girls. And piece by piece, bit by bit, if we all work together, as Sharda said, we can fix this. It's my pleasure to invite my invaluable friend, Dr. Kirti Pai, consultant clinical psychologist at Apollo Hospitals. She's also the mental health advisor in Apollo Shine Foundation, joint secretary of the Tamil Nadu and the CPSI. She has received training in Australia, Denmark, grief therapy with David Kessler. She conducts support group therapy sessions, and her last Facebook Live video had on women's health got about 1 million views. Over to you, Dr. Kirti Pai.
Thank you, ma'am. A warm namaste from the south of India. It's my pride and privilege to be part of this. And I'm a proud mother. I have twins, a 15-year-old boy and girl. And when I talk to them, I do not have any difference in the way they, come up with problems and challenges. And I think the world is so different when it comes to, the generation ahead, when I was a child myself, and now when I see my kids growing up. So there are a few points which I wanted to bring up, where, I think India is becoming also a global leader for mental health issues. And I think it is a huge impetus here, especially with girls, when we need to bring in the idea of mental health and taking resilience forward. We need to understand, when we look at psychologists like Erik Erikson, who spoke about how trust and mistrust develops right from a very young age. And it is, I believe that it is as adults, our role to bring in that importance of developing trust in young kids right from the child, where the child understands it's not just the parents, it's also the neighbors, it's also the teachers, it's also other people who the child interacts. And as the child grows older, as adolescents and young adults, that we as adults have to provide that environment and opportunity to take and help them develop trust. Now, we also know about the ACE studies, the Adverse Childhood Experiences study, and I was appalled by the amount of childhood experiences which were so adverse, not only in some parts of the US, also in India, where every other child had some unforeseen or event which the child had to go through, which was very disheartening as a mother, as a psychologist, as a mental health professional. And I feel that each one of us have a role there to play, where we are also bringing in psychological safety. Let us respect and look at the child and the adolescent with kindness and compassion. And I think that's one of the things which we need to bring in when we look at boundaries. So when we talk to children about boundaries, I always specify that there are certain aspects as the child, adolescent, or the young adult needs to bring in: the physical boundaries, the intellectual boundaries, emotional boundaries, sexual boundaries, material boundaries, and time boundaries. So these are aspects with the child, adolescent, young adult, and all of us as women need to keep in mind, so that we can empower ourselves. One more message which I wanted all of us to look at is to bring in self-compassion. I think that's what all of us have to focus on and empower the child and the young adult and the adolescent, because we are kind to others. How do we treat a friend? Do we treat us in the same way? And that's where we need to bring in self-compassion, because we would want love and kindness to help us grow. We would also want each one of you to look at each one of you with love, with compassion. And that's where the risk-taking behaviors reduce, because you wouldn't want a risk for a friend of yours. So why would you want to do that for yourself? That's where our prefrontal cortex develops faster. And as a child, we all know the limbic system might take over sometimes. And as an adolescent, the emotional side of the brain, the limbic system would kind of kidnap the prefrontal cortex and kind of try and stop people from taking informed decisions. So that's where I think all of us should empower the girl child, empower the adolescent, and look at emotional resilience, taking us forward, taking them forward. As my previous speaker spoke about how children need adults, I think the adults need the children too. They keep us alive, they keep us resilient, and I've learned it from my kids. So all the best to all of us, and all the best to the initiative. And I am really, really glad to be part of this. Thank you very much.
Wonderful messages from all speakers. It is okay to say no sometimes, and it is also okay to say I'm not okay and seek help. I'm happy to invite the next speaker, Aruni Malala Shekhara from Sri Lanka, a chartered architect and an entrepreneur, immediate past district governor. She was president of the Rotary Club of Colombo, rebuilt 23 schools across the country in Sri Lanka as part of the Rotary Tsunami Schools Reawakening Program. She says serving humanity through Rotary is a way of giving back to God a part of what He has given me. Over to you, Malala Shekhar.
Thank you very much. I wish all of you a great Girl Child Day and celebration. I'm truly inspired by the previous speakers and the wonderful little thoughts given by the girl child today. First of all, I would like to speak about the situation that we are going through in our country, in Sri Lanka. I think last year, as I was the governor, we faced one of the toughest years, starting from COVID. And just as we were getting over the COVID, our country went through, is now even currently going through a crisis situation. So during the time of the COVID, I would say our children in our country, a majority of them did not have online facilities and have not had education or gone to a school. So we have a huge situation in our hands as a nation that our children have stepped 2 years of schooling and now they have to get back to school and they have to catch up on their education. So this is a huge responsibility on the mothers. And even what I saw was even the female children in the home had to step in and help the home, especially in terms of taking care of the younger siblings and also the aged parents and grandparents. So this situation, as we were coming out of it, once again, we ran into a situation in the country where there was a huge crisis in terms of some days there are 5-hour power cuts where we are unable to carry out our work. And then we had a short supply of gas. And then again, the home fires were not burning and electricity was not available. So there was a very desperate call at the time. And then we found the fuel prices rose up by more than 100%. The inflation took over in terms of the dollar crisis where inflation went up by almost 100% or more within a very short time. So the country fell into a dilemma. And what happened was the youth, the young adults, the young women and the men got together and they really retaliated because they were going through such a tough time and they felt the time had come where they really had to take control and do something for our nation. As a citizen of the country, I was very proud to see how strong our youth are in the country. And for the first time, I saw even the young girls, the women, the young adult women, they were coming out and they were also protesting for governance and for a better situation in the country. And somehow we have been able to sort out most of our issues in terms of governance. But then again, the professionals are affected. Education is still affected. Surveillance is affected. And it is a time when I find that even the households are affected the most. It is a time when, because inflation is high, both the mother and father, they both have to go to work to meet ends and to take care of their homes. And most of the young girls are taking care of the young siblings and the aged parents. And as a result, the education of the girls have got affected, and which I feel is a very serious situation that we are facing at the moment. It is said that educating a girl is educating a mother. Educating a mother is educating a family, and educating a family is educating a nation. And this is a great concern that we have in our country at the moment. Rotary has come forward to work with the UNICEF, where we are looking at providing better food supplies, because we find that most of the nourishment and nourishing foods as well as medicines are scarce in the country at the moment. And especially the infant children and the aged parents are the ones that are getting affected. And I think especially for a girl child, it is essential that she gets the proper kind of nutrients and the proper kind of food, because one day she'll be a mother and she will be producing children. Therefore, at a young age, she needs to be nurtured to be a healthy mother someday. And in all this situation, the mindset of the young children have totally been disturbed. The love that they get from their homes is also not the same anymore, because parents are, basically pressurized with all the demands that they have to meet at this time. Having said all that, I must say the Rotaractors and even the Interactors, actually last year, I made sure that the Interactors grew by 80%. The clubs, we had 70 odd clubs, but now we have 108 clubs. And I consciously urged to all the Rotary clubs that we must start with the younger children. And I'm glad to see that there are lots of young girls who have come and taken leadership positions in Interact as well as Rotaract. And I have also started a new program last year called Shero. It means the key hero, celebrating the young women. So where we have a group of clubs that have come together, and we are looking at nurturing the young women to take them forward to leadership positions and to groom them up to become entrepreneurs so that they can contribute to our nation and our society. So having said that, I would like to introduce you to a young lady, Kavisha, who is from Rotary Club of Wasaramulla, who will speak to you about the what the young ladies are going through. Over to you, Kavisha.
Thank you, Governor. Could you all hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So adding on to what the Governor also mentioned about, because of the economic crisis that we're going through and inflation being skyrocketing, we have many low-income families that are facing a lot of difficulty even affording the basic necessities. And I'm referring to bread and egg, like basic necessities. And usually in families, if the father was the only one who was the breadwinner, then now the mom is also going out to work because one income is not enough. It's not sufficient to live the standard of living that they work. So because of that, now that even moms have started going out to work, there are a lot of kids that are left behind at home. And usually it's the girl child that is more often than not that's been told to take up the position of being the one at home to take care of the home and to make sure the siblings, like the Governor said, are being taken care of. And that means they can't go to school. And they're young kids, they're young girls, and you can't deprive them of the basic right to have education. So because of this issue, and even to add on to that, in Sri Lanka, at least from what I know, most of the women, they end up going abroad for work to countries like in the Middle East, because they offer better salaries. Not sure if you know, but in Sri Lanka, for every 100 rupees a man earns, a woman earns only 76 rupees. So that really shows why they're even looking to go ahead and move out of the country and seek for work in other countries. And in that process, when the mom leaves the home, the kids, especially even the girl children, they don't have the mom's love, the mom's affection, the care, which is really important during their early childhood development. So being deprived from something as crucial and basic as such, and even from education, even the girl child at home is now being forced to sort of take up work. And not just any work, but recently we've started hearing that in Sri Lanka, in certain areas, that girl children are actually going into prostitution because they have no other choice. They're really young, and that it seems like one of the best avenues for them to go into to bring in some income to the family. And another issue is that when the mom leaves the home, that leaves the girl child quite vulnerable to sexual harassment. And we would think that that comes from society, but actually not. It even comes from within the families, from the brother to the father to the grandfather. The girls are not safe, and they don't know about it because they don't even know. They're so young that they don't even know what's right and wrong. Some of them don't even know what's right and wrong. So that's why I've seen a lot of organizations already in Sri Lanka that are working on sexual harassment and prevention awareness, because girls need to be taught about that and they need to be educated on that. And some established organizations have also created child-friendly spaces. In the sense, in the rural area, in the city, they've created a space where when the mom and dad goes to work, they can go to the sort of the center where there'll be a teacher, there'll be food provided, and they're being taken care of, and they've been prevented from any sort of other sexual harassment or any other sort of harassment that they would have to face. So that being said, another issue is that even if these girls were able to go to school, in most rural areas, the schools here, they don't have proper washroom facilities. Meaning that, as we all know, every girl goes through 1 week of menstruation every single month. And during that menstruation period, you need absolute care, you need good sanitary wear, and you need proper clean spaces to change and to carry on with your day. But imagine you're in a school where you don't even have a washroom, or are there to share a washroom with many, many more people, including even sharing a washroom with boys. It's very uncomfortable for girls to go to school and go about their day. And most of these schools still don't even have washroom facility, such a basic facility. So that is an area which even our club is actually looking into. We have initiated a project called Our Period, where it's an initiative to promote sustainable sanitary napkins, and also to help to raise funds to help build washrooms in rural area schools where they do not have access to such a basic necessity. So those are some of the, to sort of summarize a few of the issues that the girl child has been going through, even from before the crisis time as well. But because of the crisis, it's been amplified more than ever. And just wanted to shine some light on what the girls in Sri Lanka are going through. And like the governor said, despite all of that, the Rotary and Rotaract were all striving and working towards helping these little girls as well. So Dr. Indira, thank you so much for inviting me. And it's been a pleasure to listen to all of y'all. So thank you.
Thank you, Kavisha. And I can see John, Rekha, and other Rotaracts, they have been listening to you, and the problems faced out there. Thank you, Arini. We now have the students of Shankara who are dying to share their message. Shankara students, are you out there? You can unmute yourself. Yeah.
Would first like to thank Apollo Hospitals for giving. Are we audible first?
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you, Apollo Hospitals and Rotary, for hearing out from. We loved hearing out from all the great motivations and inspirational speakers. Because we feel today that gender equality plays a very important role in all our lives, and women today are to be treated and respected equally like men. And we are honored to be called ourselves as girls from India, and of course we would love to promote gender equality in all the steps of our lives.
That was a great message. So yes, cheers to the Sheroes, and the heroes will support the Sheroes. So we have a video now that will be played.
It's always like this. My brother, who scored 76%, can go to Germany, but me, who scored 98%, can't. Why this partiality? And I don't know why my parents treat both girl child and boy child differently. I too face this. My mother always asks me to cook in kitchen, but I want to become a fashion designer, but I can't. We should all come from this. How long we subdue ourselves? Maybe they are concerned about our safety. Nowadays, parents are worried about bullies and abuse. We can see many newses coming in newspaper. Of course, there will be many obstacles in life. We should learn how to handle them. How can we live our life expecting calamities to happen? Then, how should we overcome it? We should be strong mentally and physically. Nothing in life has all struggle. Take advice and inspiration from so many women heroes. Fight through life and win.
We are fortunate to have Rachel and Jamie from Australia. So I did my training in the Down Under, Australia, and that place will always be dear to me. So Jamie and Rachel, are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, would you like to share your messages? Yeah.
Well, yeah, listening to all the very empowering, powerful, and distinguished guests before us, I'm feeling rather underprepared. But it has definitely been, so we were sort of tasked with, I guess, not comparing, but sort of giving our example of growing up in Australia. I suppose having listened to everybody else before us, I was thinking about, I guess, the challenges that we as children may have had, especially as women children growing up. We really don't seem to have many problems compared to a lot of other areas. But I was thinking more recently too, they've launched a program here in Queensland. It was a pilot program at the start of the year that they've now expanded to 120 schools, called Share the Dignity, which was really there, going back to our previous Rotaract speech, really there to sort of provide for girls in schools who don't have access to sanitary products. And as much as we have the bathrooms and facilities here at all schools, there's certainly, even in the time when I was at school, there were kids that missed out on going to school because they didn't have those products. So they would rather stay home to deal with their periods rather than being at school. Alongside that program, they are actually also running a period talk program where they actually get people in from grades 5 to 8 to educate the young girls on their periods and on their cycles and having a better understanding of that, which I think also plays into later in life and preventing teen pregnancy. So if you have a better understanding of your body and your full cycle, you can also help prevent yourself some pregnancy or unwanted pregnancies. But yeah, we have a very, very privileged life over here. So it's been incredibly, motivating and empowering to hear all these young girls in these awesome programs just like talk about how, like, girls can do anything. And I did actually have a single mum growing up who was a quote unquote draftsman. There was in her title, she was a draftsman, and she was proud of it because when she got her title, that's what it was. There was no draftswoman. And yeah, she really pressed for us to go into careers, like I'm a sales agent for properties, into careers that, don't limit ourselves based on our gender. We can do anything that we put our minds to. So it's been really lovely to hear all these beautiful girls overseas spreading that same message where they are.
That's nice to hear, Rachel. Jamie is there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi.
So I'm Jamie. I live in Brisbane and I'm in the same Rotaract Club as Rachel, and Rachel's covered a lot of it. I guess kind of growing up, I think one of the big things that she drew on was that we didn't have access to sanitary products. And if we did, they were in a bathroom that you had to pay money for. And as a child, you don't really have much money anyway. So it was a case of you would stay home from school if you couldn't afford to get those products. But we are quite lucky that we do have the facilities to be able to, I guess, kind of deal with and dispose of those products. But also, there are some really great programs out there, like Rachel said, in terms of how we're getting those into the schools and the education, as well as, I guess, kind of the sexual health education that is kind of diversifying as time goes on. When I was at school, sexual education that I received was just talking about the various diseases, nothing around, I guess, how the female body works, the anatomy, that kind of stuff. So that's something that's really changing, and I think is something that needs to happen on a global scale. And it's really great that all these, being here today and hearing all these people from all these different countries talking about their experiences and around, I guess, what they're doing and what each country can kind of bring to that and what they could bring to the table to work together to, I guess, kind of uplift and empower women all over the world and young girls all over the world to achieve anything that they absolutely can achieve. So yeah, it's great.
Thank you, Jamie, for sharing your thoughts. And at very short notice also. Yeah. So our next speaker, warm welcome to Asha Venugopal. She was the First Lady District Governor of District 3030. Her efforts during COVID were lauded, And she says, we do not realize how powerful our thoughts can be. So we should channelize our thoughts, not dwell on the negative, focus on positive aspects, and achieve things with optimism. Over to you, Asha.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Indira and PDG Rekha Shetty for inviting me. Good afternoon to one and all present here today as we celebrate the International Day of the Girl Child. I am the District Governor-elect, Protein Asha Venugopal, from Rotary District 3030, that is in Maharashtra, India. Our district is geographically spread over 726 kilometers and has a tribal population of around 25%. The women and girls in these rural areas are Adivasis, and they endure a lot of hardships. Most of them are below the poverty line, and the main source of income is agriculture, but lack or excessive rainfall often has been the bane, due to which they have less or no income. According to the World Bank, and I quote, evidence suggests that men who live in poverty or are socially excluded are more at risk of perpetrating violence because they can't find jobs or earn an income, which can lead to anger, frustration, and violence, unquote. Girls growing up in these conditions have a bleak future. In fact, they are resigned to their fate. As Kavisha said, they begin to believe that this is a normal, especially when they see other women folk in their homes and in the hamlets they reside in, accepting all the sufferings unconditionally. They do not assert themselves. This is where we Rotarians come in as catalysts to show them and give them the hope that they too deserve an equal status in society as do the men and boys. Our district does a lot for the girl child. We start at the grassroots level, right from conducting medical camps to determine as to whether they are suffering from malnutrition, anemia, or any other medical issues. The next step is to provide them with nutritional food, and we monitor their progress till they're declared healthy by our medicos. We also provide vaccination for the adolescent girls for prevention of cancer, cervical cancer. We also teach them about personal hygiene, because the onset of puberty in girls growing up in poverty is not a welcome change in their lives. Instead, it's when fears and doubts set in. Many of them become dropouts as the schools might not have adequate sanitation facilities for the girls. We have built numerous toilet blocks for girls as well as for boys. Very often it has been noticed that the girls use unhealthy and unhygienic materials when they're menstruating. So along with donating sanitary pads and vending machines and have provisions for eco-friendly methods of disposal of the sanitary pads, we are now advocating the use of reusable sanitary napkins, which is economically more viable for the girls. We teach them how to keep them hygienically so that they do not contract any infections. We also have our district Rotary Action Group for Mental Wellness, which coincidentally is also called Mind Matters, which conducts programs for creating awareness about the importance of a healthy mind. We have counseling sessions for college-going girls. As the old African proverb goes, if you educate a boy, you educate an individual. But if you educate a girl, you educate a family. Gender inequality is very rampant as far as education is concerned. It's taken for granted that the boy child must be educated as he will be the breadwinner of the family. But as a routine, the girls are expected to do all the domestic work. They are married off at a young age as they're looked upon as a burden. This leads to teenage pregnancy and childbirth, which further affects them physically and mentally. We conduct awareness camps wherein we try to educate the men and women about the rights of a girl child to a better life of equal opportunities where they can achieve their potential. When girls are married off early, they often drop out of schools. They are deprived of obtaining personal and professional skills, which would eventually give them the status of a confident and competent employed individual with a steady income and a better lifestyle. We educate mothers too and conduct vocational training programs and help them find means of raising income so that they can become equal partners, not only in their earnings, but also as decision makers, especially for their daughters. Today, the exposure available to all has given girls a knowledge and confidence that they have the right and power to make a significant and positive change in their communities. Our district works at empowering girls by helping them stand up for themselves, by training them with defense skills. We conduct special railas and workshops for girls from the lower economic strata of society that helps in developing their leadership qualities. We have a hamlet in our district where the birth of a girl child is celebrated by planting fruit-bearing trees, and the nameplate of the houses are dedicated to the daughters of the house. We as Rotarians in our district see to it that they get rightfully what they deserve. We regularly donate bicycles to girl students by which they continue with their education. We also financially aid the higher education of girl students on many occasions. We conduct career guidance workshops and have experts to advise them about the career choices that they have. I would like to conclude with a very famous quote of Nelson Mandela, who said, and I quote, "Education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. So let's focus on educating more and more girls and encouraging them and give them the impetus to pursue their dreams." On this International Day of the Girl Child, and as a grandmother to 4 beautiful, smart, and intelligent granddaughters, I pledge to promote and support the emancipation of the girl child. And I would like to tell all the girls, dream on, spread your wings and soar high. We are with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Asha. We have actually running short of time. We have a few concludings, waiting for a few remarks from Rekha and Linda. We just have at least 7 minutes before the link will expire. Rekha, would you, before I introduce Linda?
No, I think we'll go ahead and have Linda, because let's close before we are, run out of time.
So I'm delighted to introduce Dr. Linda. She's here, a senior research officer at the Bureau of United States Agency for International Development and Office of the Population and Reproductive Health, focusing on youth, gender, and social change. Over to you, Linda.
Thank you. And thank you so much for all of the speakers for the most inspiring talks, all so quickly, so many in so little time to get us started on this kind of work. I want to especially thank our hosts, the RMCH Rotary Action Group and John Townsend for welcoming us, and the Apollo Shine Foundation for hosting, and especially to Dr. Indira Jayakumar. Thank you. But your moderation was so splendid and excellent, and thank you for that. And especially to thank Dr. Rekha Shetty, who initiated this dialogue with such an inspirational message. I want to thank our speakers. We had so many speakers talking about such important work and the importance of working to empower the girl child. We had a video from PMNCH. We had Tara Kanan, the Shine student, who talked about the importance of standing up for yourself and not allowing others to disrespect you and to keep learning. We had Dr. Lisa Erickson from the Bainbridge Island Rotary Club, who talked about planning for a healthy pregnancy for mothers and babies and the risks of teen pregnancy and the importance of the courage to ask for help from trusted adults. Dr. Sofrid Raknes told us about the helping hand to improve mental health and to successfully build resiliency among young girls. And we had Pearl Okoro talking about the importance and the safety of immunization to protect the individual, her community, and beyond. We had Dr. Srilakshma, and I so apologize for butchering people's names. I so apologize. I will learn. Who talked about the importance of empowerment of girls, especially psychological empowerment, how parents, schools, communities, and learning what those of us can help us, how we can help to empower girls, especially on psychological empowerment. Bindi Rajasekaran from Malaysia, who talked about the National Coalition for Mental Wellbeing, which includes a focus on youth and adolescents. And she introduced Sharada, who is a youth advocate on mental health from Mind Matters Network, who talked about an approach that is by youth and with youth and demonstrated the importance of youth leadership herself. Dr. Kirti Pai talked about the importance of building emotional resilience, building trust, kindness, and compassion, and the role of adults in doing so. Aruni Malasekara and Kavisha talked about the situation of girls in Sri Lanka and the programs to protect them, and also to celebrate young women to take them forward in leadership through Rotary and Rotaract. Rachel Hobbs and Jamie shared information about the situation of girls in Australia and the Dignity Program and other programs and the importance of working in the schools. Asha Venugopal shared information from Maharashtra, India, and the work of Rotarians to support women and girls. And especially I want to thank the students from Chennai, students from Vedanta Academy, from Bangalore, from Shankara, from the Vidyayanam School in Coimbatore, and from the student in Africa, who talked about what it means to empower and protect the girl child. And they modeled for us how it is to be strong girls. And so for those of you who are interested in continuing this conversation and working on projects to empower youth, we ask that you get in touch with Dr. Rekha Shetty, Dr. Indira Jayakumar, and we will continue and we will look forward to working with you. And as Dr. Indira Jayakumar said, girls are breaking barriers and boundaries, and she encouraged us to work together to enable girls to continue to do so. So we look forward to marking today, the Day of the Girl's Child, as we move forward together to do this starting with the Big Pink Youth Dialogue from today. And again, I want to thank all of you for joining us and for the important work and information that you shared and for being part of this projects and work and the movement to support girl children. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. That was so wonderful. Girls can do any and everything. Let's invest in them. Let's tear down all barriers and lift them up. Let's step aside and let girls lead. Thank you so much. And there's so much synergy. We have a common goal. Let today just be the beginning. Thank you so much, everybody.
Oh,
can we have the email IDs?
If we could just put the videos, or we could take a screenshot. If everybody can open their videos, then we could take a screenshot. Yeah. Any more? Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Kitchen. Can we see your pretty faces? Everyone.
Yeah, that's a better way of putting it, Rekha. My request, nobody heard.
I think they're coming on one by one. Sahana, Shruti, Indumati,